All right, welcome everyone to today's webinar. The webinar is our library link up for October. The topic is PR and marketing. A library link up is a monthly webinar for Kentucky library staff to share ideas and examples on specific areas or program topics that are working well in your library. I did want to mention that the topic for November is going to be cooking, and for December, it's going to be homeschoolers. So if you would like to speak on one of those topics, or if you know someone in your library who'd be a great person to present, please send us an email, and I'll put our email address in the chat box. Um, all right, I'd like to give an introduction to our speakers for today. First of all, thank you so much for volunteering. Really looking forward to hearing your presentations on the topic and having good discussion with the group. For everybody that's attending, please feel free to join in discussion at the end of the program, or if there's something that you relate to and you want to share in the chat as we go along, that's great as well. The first speaker for today is Tori Vitek. She is the Programming and Marketing Coordinator from Ohio County Public Library. And after Tori will be Tammy Blackwell, who is the Director of the Marshall County Public Library. And then Stacy Stamper, who's the Media Design Specialist at the Paul Sawyer Public Library here in Frankfort. So let me bring up Tori's first slide and we will begin.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I was trying to get my camera turned on. As she said, I'm Victoria Vitek. I'm from the Ohio County Public Library, and I do the programming and marketing here, or help with it. And rather than jumping straight into social media, like I feel like a lot of us do with PR and marketing, I really wanted to emphasize the significance of outreach and word of mouth as a vital aspect of PR and marketing for your library. So one of our new exciting initiatives that we've been trying to get into is enhancing the involvement that we have with the local schools in the county. So each week we've been trying to visit either an elementary, middle, or high school to read stories, do activities, promote the library's programs, and just do some different activities with the students. And although this requires quite a bit of planning and hard work, the benefits that we're seeing are pretty clear. We're building really strong relationships with the schools, the students, and the teachers. And it's become really notable that the students are more aware of what we're offering here at the library, and they actually know that we exist, which is a good thing. And as a result, we've also seen an increase in a lot of our programs that we offer. And some classes have even asked to have like tours of the library, and we've done story times with like specific classes if the teacher is asking for that. So that's a really fun avenue that we've been opening up recently. And one of the ways that we've tried to connect with the schools is through email. So our teen librarian will send an email out to all the teachers, and then those who are interested will get back to her. They'll schedule a time or a day that we can come in, and they kind of just discuss what they want us to do. Sometimes they'll just want us to come promote some of the like programs we have for that age group, or some of the databases that we have that they could benefit from. But yeah, we've also brought some of our collection over. Today, actually, we have our teen librarian at the high school promoting dystopian books because the teacher asked her to bring over her collection. So it's pretty cool how we're trying to wiggle our way in there, and it's just a really good way to get the word out about your library. This one I feel like is pretty self-explanatory, but daycares are definitely another avenue that is important to help promote your library. We've had a lot of success. We go to all the daycares we can in our county, usually within the first 2 weeks of the month, and we go to promote what we have. We do this to just get connected with the kids there, give them something fun to do. This is a great way to get circ for your bookmobile, and it's a great way to help kids enjoy reading. I've been to the daycares quite a few times, and the kids genuinely love getting to go on there. They get so excited to read and to pick their own book, and yeah, it just gives them a break from the daily routine of daycare and helps you reach your community, which I think is great. Another thing that we've been trying to really target is our teen volunteer program. So through our teen volunteer program, we pick a different organization or business in the county every month to make a gift for them and hand deliver it to them when it's completed. We've really tried to make this a fun time for the teens. So a couple years ago, it would just be they came in, did 2 hours of volunteer, and went on their merry way. But now, after they do their 2 hours of volunteer, we offer them a free lunch and then a movie, and that really makes it fun for the teens, getting to kind of relax after their work, and also provides a fun place for them to connect to each other. This program doesn't only provide valuable opportunities for the teens, but it allows us to build connections with these local businesses or organizations that we would not have otherwise connected with, which is really great. Some places we've made gifts for or crafts for would be like the nursing home, the firefighters, EMS. We've done teachers, post office workers, nurses, you name it. We've probably tried to give them something, and it just makes them so excited to be recognized, especially by a library. They're like, oh, that's really kind of you. So yeah, I feel like this is a great way to reach people in your community that you might not be reaching right now. Every way is important, I think. And one of the reasons that I think word of mouth PR is so vital is because it really helps you reach the audience that doesn't already, let's say, follow your social media account or already get like the calendars mailed to their house. It just helps broaden those opportunities for connections in ways that social media alone can't do. So while I understand that some of you might come from larger libraries, I come from a little small library in a rural community. And in our experience, trying to make these different connections through the schools and the daycares, teen volunteer programs, we have seen a noticeable increase in attendance. So for example, our teen programming, we have the teen volunteer and then a teens only event every month. And a while back, before we started trying to infiltrate the schools and really make connections with these students, we only had maybe 2 teens show up to these events. I mean, I remember there were a few months where we would not have any attendance to these programs. And the last program we had 27. I don't know if that's a big number for you guys, but it's very important for us. And so I just feel like that's wonderful that we're getting that attendance through trying to reach these students. And not only are they coming here, but they're building relationships with the staff that we have here by us going to the schools and talking to them and showing them what we do. So I think that's great. We've also seen a lot of attendance to our preschool story times. They never fail with their attendance. And I say all of this not just to go do it, but to share it. It's really fantastic to do all of these outreach programs, trying to reach these different places in your community. And it's good work that we're doing, but it's really great to also share this good news with other people. Don't let it be left unknown. Share it to your social media accounts, over the radio if you do that, newspaper if you can. Because it's really great for your community to actually see what you're trying to do with them. And I know that it's not always feasible to get pictures. For instance, at the schools, we can't really just take pictures of the students most of the time. So if you have to, maybe the backs of the students if you need to, or we've taken pictures of the projects that they've completed while we're there, can take pictures with staff. Just kind of letting people know, we're doing more than just what we do at the library kind of thing. And like I said, if you have opportunities, take photos because authentic images tend to resonate more with the audience instead of just like a stock photo or something like that. And with these real images, you're probably going to encourage greater interaction with all the posts that you're making. And yeah, it's just really great. People love getting to see what you're doing. And so here's just a few pictures that we have from our library. Super fun times. And I know that I've been talking a lot about word of mouth, which is honestly a lot of work, but so are all of these other avenues. And I feel like we can't forget that um, there are so many different ways to communicate with people nowadays. And so we don't just do word of mouth. Obviously, we don't just do social media. We mail calendars monthly, and we give those calendars also to local businesses everywhere in the community, and they just stick them on their window or on the front table if they can. We send out postcards for most events and like for our bookmobile routes and our homebound routes that we do. We regularly update our website each month. We send remind texts, which is a great way to reach people. Great way to reach people. We do weekly radio spotlights. We do a lunch show and a morning show, and they kind of like throw out our name every now and then to get people in the know of what we're doing. And there are just countless effective ways to promote your library, so be sure to take advantage of as many as possible and try to reach your community in different outlets that you may not be already, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's what I got.
That's great, Tori. Thank you so much. We are hoping to have discussion as a group as well at the end, but does anybody have anything that they want to ask Tori, a burning question that you don't want to wait till the end? All right. I think it'll be good if we, all of these different opportunities and resources and avenues that people take kind of build on each other. And it's really great to be able to share together, and it might spark some new ideas that you want to explore at the end as well. Okay, there's a question in the text from Lori. Is there a trick for small libraries to mail out 300 calendars and not break the bank?
That's a great question. um, we've just seen that it's really worth spending some money in mailing because how effective it is with letting people know about them. And if that's not feasible, I mean, we also make sure to post all of our events on Facebook, and we have tons of calendars in the library posted all over the county. So if it isn't feasible to mail it to every patron, maybe print out some and try to hand them out to local businesses if possible, because that could be a way to get people to see it. But yes, things can be pricey.
Yeah, then there was a question about what do you use to send reminder texts? Melanie said you could do every door direct mailing through the Postal Service. There's restrictions on size of the mailer. Um, you may be able to get a nonprofit rate, Stacy mentioned. And do you also send out the calendars in emails, Tori?
For the emails, it's pretty much the calendar. It's just broken down a little bit. It doesn't look exactly like the calendar we mail out. It's just kind of each event listed down below with a picture or a short explanation of what it is. Yeah,
On the
and then for
remind,
the reminder text, we use the Remind app.
that's what I was just getting ready to ask you.
Yes, we do it
Yeah.
for every like different age group. So like preschool story times would be a different remind text than teen programming.
And that's probably, like you said, that's probably really, really effective because I know as a parent, we get those a lot from school. I don't know if everybody's schools use those, but it helps too with like clubs at school and stuff like that. So I could see that the library paralleling the remind text would just be very effective, at least for people who are used to receiving those.
Yes, and it also helps with like quick response times because a lot of people will text back if they have questions about a program, and whoever's in charge of those remind texts can give a quick little text and they'll have all the info they need.
That's great. Put a quick note in the chat if you're using remind text in your library. And while you do that, I'll go ahead and introduce Tammy. And if there's more questions for Tori, we'll make sure that we address those at the end as well. But Tammy Blackwell is coming up next, and she is the director of the Marshall County Public Library. Welcome, Tammy.
Hello, everybody. Okay. Um, so this builds on what Tori was talking about. Marshall County does all the things that Tori was talking about, getting out there, posting. But what I'm going to focus on is that actual advertising component. Marshall County is in the far, far western part of the state. It is a rural community. We have 3 branches. We do not have anybody whose only job is marketing and PR. Obviously, I'm the director. I do some of the marketing and PR. We have some other people, and we work as a team. So some of you may be in that situation as well, that you just do not have the budget, the staffing to have a dedicated person. And this presentation is a way to hopefully show you how to get the best reach that you can with the least amount of time and effort. So it should be noted that I love advertising. My parents said that some of my first words were repeating words from commercials. My undergrad is in advertising. I love it. So I'm mildly obsessed with how advertising changes and promotions change. And I'm an old person. Maybe I am in my mid 40s. So I was there before the internet, and I have seen that major shift that we went from the job of a media buyer at an ad agency was so easy back in the 90s because you just tried to decide, am I going to put more money in drive time on radio or more money in television? And if I'm doing television, am I going to try to do it during must-see TV on Thursday nights, or is it going to be better? Am I going to reach a better audience during local news? I mean, it was so easy back then. It is not now. Because as you can see on this chart from Pew Research, people don't use radio and television and all that like they used to. I mean, used to it would be where it says, do you get your news from there often? It would be like 90% of people. And now, we're doing good with 40 and 50. Most people are getting their information from digital stuff. So where are they? They're everywhere. I grew up with 3 channels on the TV. I don't even know what Be Real is on this chart here. There are so many media platforms. It's impossible to keep up with them. But the most popular ones are YouTube and Facebook. Twitter used to be up there, and Twitter has fallen some, and we have new ones coming in all the time. It's just a wild mess. And if you don't have a plan for how you're going to tackle this, you're not going to get the best reach that you can. So this is our marketing flow chart. As I said, we have a team. None of us, this is our main job. Lanisa is a branch manager. Emily's a cataloger. Nick runs our makerspace. The Emily W., she is is our adult services person. It just so happens, though, that we hire a lot of people who quit the Paxton Media Group. And so we have a lot of people with the right skills to do this. So we have this complete plan. It has deadlines on it. It has who does what and who does what when. It has very specific sizes that we do things. So there's never any question. This is a well-oiled machine. We do lots of programs every month, and they all get advertised in the same way. And so nobody's saying, like, oh, my programs don't get attendance because you don't advertise them as much as you do another. No, we've got this flow down. Even if you are one person, I think it's really important to have a plan, to have deadlines on it, and to just keep everything rolling smoothly. Now, I am an ENFJ and an Enneagram 1, but I really, really feel like you're going to get the best of your time if you have a plan. So one thing I'm going to suggest is to invest in images. I think it should be on the left hand of your screen. That's the image I got from, we use Deposit Photos. There's a whole list of places you can get photos from. I like Deposit Photos. A lot of times they'll do a sale, 100 photos for $100, which is pretty cheap. So taking that image and making that ad took me roughly 3 minutes. And it still gets a lot of traction when we put it out because that's a cool image. People are going to notice it. Having good images, not trying to go through and find free images that match what you're doing, it makes a difference. I mean, probably from me reading the email that gets sent out about each program, reading what it was about, and me logging on to Deposit Photos, from logging on to getting the ad done was, I would say, 5 minutes. Because again, all I had to do was take that image, cut it down, find a font, and just type the information on there. Which this is happening tonight. So I know none of you are near me, but if you were, you could come tonight and watch and play horror movie trivia. So one of our things is we make everything in a square. Everything is made in a square. They're built at 1080 by 1080, and then for some things they get reduced down to 820. Squares, first of all, that's what Instagram wants. Secondly, and so when they're on Instagram, they can share to Facebook. So it just makes sense to have them already in that square. And then when they are in that square, they stack up really nicely if you do lots of things at once. So like last week during fall break, we on Facebook put all the things that was happening in that week, and everything stacks up real nice, and you can see all the different things at once. So everything gets built in that square. And then, as I said, you can connect accounts. So Meta is Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. I don't know if Threads is really gonna. It's kind of like, I don't know if we're going to make Fetch happen. I don't know if we're going to make Threads happen or not. We are not sharing to there yet. We never had success with Twitter. But we do, everything we do, we post as, I think I can get as you can see here, it says that it's going to go both to our Instagram and our Facebook. So if you're posting in Meta, you can do that. You can connect those accounts. One post goes both places. We use email and text messaging as well. So the emails still use this square image. We just go in, put them in order of the programs. This goes out twice a month. So the 1st and the 15th, I believe. And so people can just scroll through and see what's happening in that half of the month. And it's all these square images we made. Now, unfortunately, that does not work with our email list. We use, AMP Close By. and I can schedule them out. We have lots of different lists. So you can see there we have one for teens, one for children. And something that's very easy to do is then to link back if you have an online calendar and get people, if your registration is there, more information about the program. Going to lose my voice. So these are the digital ways we get out the message. And we advertise this email list and this text messaging list everywhere, like all the time, because these really are where we're seeing the most engagement in terms of people actually signing up for things. Now, Facebook is where we see the most engagement in people sharing the posts. Sometimes we'll have a ton of people sharing or tagging other people. But in terms of like making that click to sign up for things that require registration, that does happen more in email and text messaging. We also use that square image in our in-house digital signage. We have these things freaking everywhere, like everywhere. So as you can see on the right side here, it pulls, oh, I got rid of my pointer. This right side here pulls from our calendar. And so it just shows what's coming up at each of the branches and what time and date that scrolls. These, I think they stay up there like 5 seconds each. And so they're flipping through all the upcoming things. And then you can see here at the bottom, it's always telling you to sign up for our text list. We have a lot of people that enter our buildings that aren't there necessarily for library services. They're coming for something in one of the meeting room spaces or what have you. So we have these by the door. We have them all over the place so that if people are coming in and they're not library users, they're just in the building to attend a meeting or what have you, they're going to see all this stuff that we're doing. And never underestimate the power of bright and shiny. People will stand and stare at that for really long periods of time. So as I said, a lot of us worked for Paxton Media Group before we worked here. So we're Adobe people. We use Photoshop, we use InDesign. I think you could still use this concept if you're a Canva person. If you are old like me and have been using Photoshop for like 25 years, Canva doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you. And so I don't have a lot of knowledge of Canva, but this is what we do. So we have these, there are templates and everything goes. So these are the flyers that hang in the library. Again, you can see asking you to sign up for those text messages. And then these are what we call by threes. So we print these out, we cut them up. They're roughly the size of a big bookmark. We have them on the desk. And then, for example, if we know somebody's interested in something, we will hand it to them and be like, oh, here, this is coming up. Also, people just look at them, pick them up, and take them with them. Sometimes they just grab them because they need a bookmark, but still they're getting that message of this program that's coming up. So what that looks like is we take that same square image that we've been using for all of our digital stuff, and so we just pop it in. You can tell over here we do, we change these wordings. But again, this takes no time at all, and it's a consistent picture for the one program. It's really easy. This takes hardly any time at all. And so that's how Marshall County gets the biggest bang for the least amount of time, because we're all trying to just scramble and get done what we can because we're doing other jobs. That's what I have.
That's so helpful, Tammy. Thank you so much. And I love your I'm going to go back to it actually, the diagram that you had of kind of how you guys divided and conquered, because it just seems so helpful and user friendly. And when you said that, even if you're one person, to be able to divide your work down in this way, I thought, yes, you're totally right. That would be very helpful to just be able to keep when we're all, multitasking and trying to, before you can get one thing posted, you have another request coming in. It would be really helpful to just kind of have a step-by-step plan for, okay, where am I at with that one? Whether you're doing it together on a team and there are pieces delegated out to different people, or if you're one individual and all the pieces are yours. But um, did anybody have any specific questions for Tammy, or we can hold the questions till the end and keep moving? All right, so next up we have Stacy Stamper. Stacy is the media design specialist from Paul Sawyer Public Library here in Frankfort. And again, make sure that you stay with us till the end. Number one, for your CE credit, and number two, to make sure that we can engage together in conversation together at the end. Maggie says, off topic, but Canva is also a great resource for photos and graphics. Yes, Maggie, I use Canva, and they have a pretty good amount of options in there under their elements and photos and graphics. Libraries can typically get Canva Pro for free for nonprofits. That's good to know. You can also bring over graphics from Adobe Illustrator and InDesign. Yeah, so that's great information. If you do use Canva regularly, just put a little note in the chat so we can see how many people are Canva users, or if you like it or don't like it. So, Stacy, welcome.
Hello. All right, so today I'm going to be talking about email marketing. I've got 3 ideas that we use here at Paul Sawyer, and that I hope that either you can use them straight up or you can use them as inspiration as you create your own content. So about myself, I'm Stacy. I'm the media design specialist at Paul Sawyer Public Library. I've been with the library for 16 years, and I manage our media and our marketing. This includes print newsletters, our print and digital signs, any bookmarks or brochures that we need, also our video production, social media, all of our paid advertising, and then, of course, our email marketing, which is what I'm going to be talking about today. So these are the 3 different ideas. Because that I'm going to be talking about just 3 different ways that you can use email. And we've mentioned email before in the other presentations for events. So these are 3 other ways that you can send emails, or other topics you can send emails on different topics. Okay, so I got this idea. I call it Focus on 5. I got this idea from a library in Ohio. I believe it was in a library in Akron. They called their email 5 things this week. I call ours Focus on 5, and it's basically just 5 things about the library. It can be a collection, it could be a resource in-house or online, some kind of services. Maybe you do like a notary, or maybe you do some kind of any kind of service, any kind of programs or events. You can throw in a little bit of library history in there. It's just 5 things that people might want to know about the library. We send ours out every 2 weeks. The library I got this idea from, they send theirs out every single Friday, weekly. That was a little bit too much for me. They're a bigger library than we are, but kind of think about what you might be able to do, maybe every week or even just once a month. I just thought it was a really fun idea to highlight some things about the library. And then I suggest making a list. That was the first thing I did when I started making these. It was about a year ago I started sending these out. I send it out every other Friday. Spreadsheets are great. I've got an example of mine right there. So I broke it down into different categories, and then I just made just started typing stuff out. Everything that we have everything that's, available on our website, everything we have in-house, and then I will put in the link to it. I'll put the dates that I used it, and then I color code it so that I know that that not to use it again. And then I also write in the description that I use in the email. I paste that into the spreadsheet as well, because I'm planning on using the spreadsheet for future uses. Anytime I need a short little blurb about a resource, whether it's going in a newsletter or if I need a short little thing for social media, I can just grab that and reuse that text. I don't have to think and retype it all. I can just copy and paste it into whatever I'm working on at that time. So this spreadsheet is going to do double duty here. All right, so the analytics for our Focus on 5 emails. I did combined statistics from 6 different emails that I sent between July and October of this year. Our average open rate was 28.8, pretty good. Our analytics, we use Savannah, Orange Boy Savannah for our email service, and that integrates with our TLC or our ILS. So your analytics are going to be a little bit different if you use different services, but this gives you an idea of how effective it's been. We could tell what their activity was within 7 days after opening the message. So they received the email, they open the email, and then if they have any activity within 7 days of that date, it will show up in our analytics. So from these emails, we've had 68 people come into the library, check something out, 29 people check out something from Overdrive, and 9 from Hoopla. And then this is analytics for engagement after receiving the message. So we've got 2 groups that I try to focus on for re-engagement. It's the inactives, which are people who have not used their card in over a year. And then what we call the occasionals, which are people who have not used their card between 3 and 12 months. So they're at risk for going inactive if we don't re-engage them. So from this email, or from this 6 emails, I'm gonna skip the unknown column. Those are people who have used their account in some way, but the system doesn't know what type of usage it is. So I'm going to go to the following column, which are page turners, which are adult fiction checkout, or people who check out adult fiction. So 137 people who had not used their account in 3 to 12 months came back and checked out adult fiction, and 59 people who had not used their account in over a year came back and checked out adult fiction. So I do have to take these with a little bit of a grain of salt, because it could have been something else that brought them back. Yes, they received this message and then they had some kind of action, but it might not have been this message that triggered that action. It could have been a social media post. It could have been a friend mentioning a book that they wanted to read, something like that. So we don't really know, but it's still a good idea. It's still a good thing that they're receiving this message, seeing this. Okay, so the next one that I want to talk about is our Tell a Friend campaign. We've sent this out twice. It was about 2 years apart. The last time we sent it out was last month. So we send this email out to people who use the library frequently, and we invite them to share the library with friends and family. We know you love using your library. Why should your friends and family miss out? Share the love. Don't let them miss out on all the library has to offer. So we're making them the hero. They're the ones who can open up this whole new world for their friends or their family member. This is great for Library Lovers Month, and it's great for Library Card Sign-Up Month. If you want to pocket this idea for February or for next year, or you can just do it whenever, really. It doesn't have to be related to anything. Um, um, I also put in here different links to different content that we have, so that even if I took this as an opportunity to remind our regular patrons about some of the other programs they might not know about. They might check out tons of kid books every week, but do they know about Creative Bug or our career and job seeking assistance? So I kind of took this as an opportunity to remind some of our patrons about a lot of the things that we do. So these are our analytics. Our open rate for this last email we sent in September was huge, 50% open rate, which I was thrilled with. We sent it out to 2,735 regular patrons. We had a lot of opens. We had quite a few clicks, and a lot of the clicks are on different things. Unfortunately, I do not know how to track through this program how many people forwarded the email. So I'm hoping a lot of people forwarded it to family members and friends that might not who might not be using the library, and hopefully we'll see a lot of those people coming into the library. All right, the last idea I've got is show your collection. These emails are always popular, especially the top checkouts of the year, like we do our end of the year one. Because even though the library is a community center and we have so many events and programs and so many different wonderful resources and services that are not directly related to books, books are still like a huge part of the library. And I always want to try to highlight our collection and get those books in people's hands and get the book circulating. And emails allow us to put the direct links to the book right in front of them so they can check it out in like 2 clicks. So some of the different ideas that we've used in the past are the top titles of the year, which has always get a really good open rate. We do staff picks. Even if you don't have like a photo of the staff member, just a list of titles is going to be a great idea. People always seem to want to know what other people are reading. There's also, you can do an email about new large types. I try to send an email like this out 2 or 3 times a year to our senior patrons so that they can see what popular books are going to be available in large type and what's new in our large type collection. Other ideas would be like beach reads, or you could do spooky reads, holiday rom-coms, Black History Month, Women's History Month, anything along those lines. For the content of these emails, I try to do 8 to 10 books. Not too many, but enough that people can find something that they'd want to read. A photo of the cover. People do judge a book by the cover, even with the saying. And then I do a short blurb, try to hook them, and the direct links. I always want a direct link straight to the catalog if it's a physical book, or a direct link to our ebook or e-audio collection so they can go directly there and check it out. You want to make it as easy as possible for the patron to get access to that book. All right, so analytics for these, this is the combined statistics from 6 emails that I sent out from last December to June. I wanted to get in the top books of the year in these statistics. So you can see people who opened this message within 7 days, we had 772 people check out something from Overdrive. 736 people checked out something from In-House, and 218 checked out something from Hoopla. Great statistics. I think that people are wanting to check out these items. And again, this is after they open the message. And again, we do have to take this with a grain of salt still, because it doesn't necessarily mean it's causation, but I think it is a good indicator of um, success for these emails. So re-engagement after receiving these messages. These are, again, the combined statistics from those 6 emails. We're going to skip over unknown and go straight to page turners. So we've had 34 people who had not used the library. They received this, who had not used the library between 3 and 12 months. They received this email and then they checked out something from adult fiction. And then 17 who had not checked out anything for over a year, and 17 people came back to the library for adult fiction. And then there's other numbers you can see there for different other different groups. All right, and that's all that I had. If you guys have any questions, I'd love to see them.
I'm curious if everybody uses the same analytics approach, or what did you say, Stacy? It's something like embedded on your email, or it's a software program?
Yeah, it's a program we use to create and send out the emails. It's called Orange Boy Savannah.
Does anybody else use that?
They also do a lot of. There's not just emails that we can do with Savannah. It's a lot of statistic and data mining that we can do because it integrates with our ILS.
Yeah, that's really great information that you have, and like you said, I'm sure you can't, say with 100% certainty the exact correlation, but I would speculate that it's related, definitely, with the timing like that. So that's really great information that you have. Um, let's talk about questions, or if other people on have suggestions for um, ways that you might use some of these things in your library or want to try, or something that you're doing that didn't come up, or it's a little different take on something that you're doing in your library. If anybody wants to share ideas. Is anybody else using Orange Boy Savannah? You can put it in the chat if you want, or something similar, but a different program. How do you track your success of your marketing? Tammy said they use MailChimp. Mm-hmm. Okay, Tori asked Stacy, do you use these techniques strictly for email, or do you try to utilize them on social media as well?
The focus on 5, we haven't really carried over into social. I think that would work though, to do it would be a longer post. But that would work. But the collection, absolutely. We do put that anytime we have an email about the collection, we're always putting it on, we'll make a little graphic for it, and we'll put that information on social, and especially the staff picks. People on social, on our Facebook page, go crazy over our staff picks posts like that. They really love those. For the tell a friend, that I think we did post that on Facebook as well, but we got a lot more engagement, probably because it was so targeted. We got a lot more engagement on that through the email. because the email was just sent to people who use it regularly instead of a blanket email.
Okay, Abigail says this isn't related to email, but for our monthly newsletter, we only showcase our programs at the moment. But I was thinking about creating a program calendar for one section of the newsletter instead, and then showcasing our collections and resources in the rest of it. My only concern is that patrons will lose the details to each program and may not be interested in them if they only see the name of the program. Any suggestions? Okay, Tammy suggests could they put a QR link for more information online?
I don't know why I'm typing. I have the ability to turn on my
Yeah, that's
microphone.
fine. That's
But
totally
we
fine.
we do find that people will use those QR links, and that gives us more space for things these days. Like we can put like a little blurb, and then there's the QR link to take them, if they're wanting to know more information. So I don't know if you have a really good online calendar that has lots of information. If you're one of the libraries that uses library marketing for your website, um, but since we've switched to them and have them doing our online calendar, because there's already so much information there, we just keep linking back to it.
Yeah, Abigail says they're currently using LibCal for online calendar and they could link it there. One thought I had, I don't know if this is practical or not, or if you use Remind or not, Abigail, but I was thinking you could put the Remind code or instructions on how to sign up for Remind um, for that as well in your newsletter. That might be a way too. Speaking of websites, Lori says, who do you recommend to host? We're thinking of moving and looking for suggestions.
So I will say that library market can be pretty pricey, but also you're not going to get that level of library knowledge anywhere else. They know what they're doing, they know libraries, and it does take a lot of effort on your part at the very beginning, but it's because they want your website to be what you want it to be, not what they think it should be. So I do highly recommend Library Market.
Okay, thank you. Stacy also said they use Library Market and she likes that as well. Okay, Abigail says they're in the process of signing up with Streamline um, since they're very ADA focused. And can't confirm how happy they are yet, but that's the one that they're going with. And Lori says, with Library Market, do we take over the updates of the design after they've set it up?
So the way Library Market sets it up, different people have different level of access, and you get to choose who has what level of access. So, we're going in and we're putting up the posts and things like that. But we also, part of their contract is that they're there for assistance at any time. I had a page go completely wonky on me at the beginning of the summer. I just sent them an email and it was fixed within like 2 hours. So they're still involved, and they are also super ADA focused. You cannot put an image on there without putting the text for to describe it.
That's helpful to know. Melanie says they love Red Pixel Studios. They've been wonderful for them to work with. And Lori says Streamline has reached out. Okay, so they're looking at options. So Right. Any other things to share or brainstorm together? Um, while we have a moment in between, I just want to give another shameless plug for our next library link up. If you are interested, or if you know someone who's interested in speaking on cooking or homeschooling, those are the topics that are coming up in November and December. Um, I'm going to go ahead and paste a couple of notes in the chat just about um, this program and how you can still access the handouts, and how we are interested in your feedback on the assessment and the survey for the program. But please continue to chat together either in the chat box, or share your thoughts out loud if you want to turn your microphone on while we have a couple more minutes here together, if there's anything you want to discuss.